All right, everybody, good evening to you. This is Sunday evening. Been working on this forecast the majority of the weekend for you. I'm going to go ahead and start with how things look for eastern Kansas and western Missouri starting late tonight. I'm going to go through tomorrow, what kind of a day your Monday is going to look like, and then we will start to talk about Monday night as well, which is in our main event in terms of severe weather. Confident that we will see strong to severe storms over a wide area on Monday evening. But go ahead and settle in with me here for a few minutes. I'm going to put this window up here in the top left right there. You can drop your comments, drop your questions if you have them. I'll be able to see those as they pop up, and we'll get your questions answered for tonight and tomorrow night. So what we're looking at on the screen first is how things are starting to set up this evening, looking to see if our forecast is going to verify. Look at everything that we're starting to see off to our northwest. Lots of storm spotters up there. These guys are all up in the enhanced risk area where storms are already starting to converge. We've been expecting that for the last couple of hours with some upscale growth now starting to stretch down here into Kansas. So it's time to start to talk about the threats that we're going to see as we move through the overnight period. So here is today's severe weather outlook, which has to do all with tonight. So this chunk of Kansas here in the yellow is in the slight risk area. As we move over towards Kansas City, we have kind of a split here, just to the west of Kansas City in the slight risk area, Kansas City proper in the marginal risk area. For what we see, what I'm going to show you later on here in the live stream, I'm going to give you the schedule, the latest forecast that just came out. But we expect storms to fire tonight and be strong off to the northwest. So we're looking out here towards Topeka and points off to the north. As they approach Kansas City in the wee hours, we do expect things to become weaker as they move southeast. So will become outflow dominant storms is what we are looking for again in the wee hours of the morning. So all of us down here in west central Missouri, we're going to be in the marginal risk tonight. So by tomorrow morning, do expect to see some strong to robust thunderstorms still in the area. Unfortunately, for that morning commute. And I do think those thunderstorms are going to hang out until about noon for most of us tomorrow. So that is today's severe weather outlook. Let's go ahead and talk about Monday's severe weather outlook. That is on the screen in front of you now. So this is our main show. So out here, Manhattan, almost to Topeka, up towards northern Kansas. This has the 4 out of 5 moderate risk for tomorrow. I'm going to go through the particular threats that we may see. As we get closer to our area, all of Kansas City tomorrow in the 3 out of 5, the enhanced risk. This touches eastern Kansas as well. So out here towards Ottawa, Garnett, Paola, and then on the Missouri side, Belton and Harrisonville going to get in on the enhanced risk as well. Not out of the woods, the farther south and the east that we go, down here in the yellow. So this is going to pick up Adrian, Butler, Rich Hill, Appleton City, and Clinton. All of us will be in the slight risk, the 2 out of 5. And this is going to stretch all the way over into the early hours of Tuesday morning. So still talking about Monday night over into Tuesday. Let's go ahead and break down the individual threats. Let's talk about tornado first because that's what everybody wants to know about. So all of that activity hanging out well to our northwest. But I do want to go ahead and talk about this just for a second because this is something that we have not seen in a long time out of the Storm Prediction Center. So this area that I'm focusing on right now is Hutchinson, Newton, McPherson, Salina, Abilene, Manhattan, Kansas, and just west of Topeka where those solid lines in the red are right now. What are we expecting out there? Well, this newfangled thing from the Storm Prediction Center's conditional intensity score. I haven't brought that up too much this year, frankly, because we haven't seen much to talk about there. But conditional intensity level 2 could give us some possible EF3 tornadoes up around a 30% chance of those. And again, that's all in this area that has the red solid lines through it west of Topeka. As we get into Topeka itself, we drop down to a level 1 on that scale where we might see about a EF2 strength tornado get together, around a 20% chance, 15 to 20% chance of tornadic activity in the EF2 levels out there. So I wanted to go ahead and bring those up. Not out of the woods. As we get over here to Kansas City, we drop down to the level 1 on the SIG scale. between a 10 and a 20% chance of some EF2 or greater tornadic activity as this moves on. This would be talking about late Monday night over into Tuesday morning. As we get into the bulk of east central Kansas, right, this does drop down because we're going to shift over to a more linear threat in the early hours of Tuesday morning. So hopefully we will not see those discrete cells out ahead of the main line of storms by the time that things get into this area. So that tornado risk drops down, where we would mostly be talking about some spin-up tornadoes in the line. Those can still be strong, and there could still be some discrete cells that do fire out in front, all in this area. So tornado risk, not zero, going to go with a 5% risk for all of this area. Mound City, Pleasanton, Lacine, Archie, Adrian, Butler, Rich Hill. This is going to go clear over and pick up Appleton City and Clinton as well. It's not until we get over towards Eldo, Osceola, Warsaw that we drop down to that 2% tornado risk. So all of us in a greater than 2%, which is what we've dealt with most of this severe weather season so far. We get less and less, as you guys can see, as we move northwest to southeast tomorrow night. So that is the tornado threat, but we have all modes of severe weather in play. Let me go ahead and put up the wind threat for you. This is what we're going to see tomorrow night: wind and possibly some hail. So let's go into this big red area here. This picks up all of east central Kansas and all of central and northern Kansas as well. We're talking about some 65 plus knot winds. That's going to put us up into the 80 to 90 mile per hour wind gusts. Up around a 30% chance of those. Here again, this picks up Kansas City and points to the south. This is going to pick up Harrisonville, Belton, Paola, Garnett, and Ottawa into these really strong damaging winds. By the time we get over here into west central Missouri, we're going to drop that down a little bit to a 15% chance of damaging wind gusts, probably around 60 to 70 miles an hour, most likely as that line moves through. So wind is definitely going to affect all of us tomorrow night. What about hail? Again, we're going to go and talk mostly about west of Topeka, Salina, Abilene areas for big hail, up to almost 4-inch hail. And with the long track of these thunderstorms, we could see a wide area that does pick up greater than 2-inch hail. So around 3.5 inches is what we're settling on in a probability out there west of Topeka. We move a little bit more towards Kansas City. We still should see plenty of 2-inch hail in these storms tomorrow night. East central Kansas, west central Missouri, let's put it right here in the middle, still talking about around a 15% chance of some up to 2-inch hail. And this drops down as we get over here to the east of Warrensburg. So between Warrensburg and Clinton, hopefully we're not looking at so much of a hail threat as we move through tomorrow night. So, all right, that is the threats between tonight and all the way over into tomorrow night. Let's go ahead and talk about the timing now. Let me go ahead and put some forecast data in here for you. And let's jump ahead to about midnight tonight. Here we go. Midnight tonight. All of that stuff that's up there in Nebraska right now is going to work its way southeast. So I think by midnight, we ought to see storms on their way into northeast Kansas here, working their way through. We'll be able to see what these start to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you again. This is about midnight tonight. Let's go ahead and just kind of tick through the time frame for you here. And we'll move up to about 3 a.m. So there it is, between 2 and 3 a.m. I think these storms reach Kansas City, should be in Topeka a little bit before then. But here's what I've been watching all afternoon, you guys. Watch what happens between right there. Between here, there's like 2 o'clock. Look how straight and tight that line is. Still is, but it's starting to break apart as it reaches Kansas City. And then here we are at about 4 a.m. This is what I was talking about back in the opener, where hopefully we start to see some outflow dominant motion to these storms. So that is a sign that things are weakening. We can still have some robust storms. Look at these, you guys, by 4, 5. So we're talking wake up time for a lot of people on Monday morning. What should we have before the sun comes up? Look at all these clusters of thunderstorms. Some will be strong, could still see some severe storms. There is some energy still left to work with. Kind of look at these to be a little bit more over here on the Kansas side, maybe between Ottawa Ottawa and Olathe, but clear into Belton and Harrisonville. Again, this is about the 5 a.m. time frame tomorrow morning. So there's your Monday morning. Going to continue all through the commute hours. Here we are up to 8. I think it's going to be about 9 o'clock here before we start to see some breakup in this coverage, you guys. So here we are at about 11 o'clock at noon. All this is going to push off eventually, straggle off to the south-southeast. But look, as late as 3 o'clock, we still have some thunderstorms down here if you guys are in the Nevada, Rich Hill, Mound City over there on the left of your screen. Pleasanton, you guys are still dealing with thunderstorms as late as 2 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So this is what I'm expecting to happen, and looking at the radar, I just don't know. This is going to be a question that I'll be trying to answer tomorrow afternoon. But we should expect something of a cap. Capping inversion acts to hold back convection, thunderstorm activity over all of this area. That's a good thing. Another good thing will be how late thunderstorms in the area last and chew up some of that available energy. But I am looking for that cap to develop and hold things off. So we'll see how strong it is and how long it lasts tomorrow. But here we are at 4 o'clock, and this is kind of the waypoint, you guys, between what has happened and what is left to move through. So by 6 p.m., we should be able to look off to the northwest and see once again out to the west of St. Joseph. So northeast Kansas and northwest Missouri are going to be the first to get in on these damaging straight line winds. I'm going to go ahead and put up a couple of other parameters in a minute so you guys can see where I'm looking at possible supercells and tornadic activity, but I already showed you that in the severe weather outlook. So here we go for time frame. By 11 o'clock, I think we're hitting that I-35 corridor over here towards Linden, Ottawa, and Lawrence. And so this is going to be midnight and later that this starts to impact KC and points to the south. 1 a.m. is really the hour for me, and this is held since this morning. When I was working on the forecast for you guys. So I see this line between Wichita, 54 Highway, 35 Interstate, Olathe, Kansas City, all the way up towards Richmond. Again, this is about the 1 a.m. hour. I expect things to have moved through Paola on their way over to Harrisonville, working on Drexel, Adrian, and Butler. So again, midnight and the hours after that are going to be the time frame. Here we are by about 2 a.m. I think all of us will be dealing with this noisy, very windy, possibly some small hail. Could be bigger than small hail. Again, up to that 2-inch hail possible we saw as we start to move here into west central Missouri. So let me go ahead and back this up. I'm going to pull out a couple of things that will either be discouraging or encouraging to you as we move through the forecast area. I'm going to go ahead and put up supercell composite. I don't do that in the live streams a lot. But it does help me to see, again, this is not showing you those storms. They're back here moving along, right? But if we have any cells that fire, discrete cells out in front of the line, we didn't really see that on data a few minutes ago. So that's a good thing. But this is the area, those darker colors into the blues there, that I'm expecting. I'll be looking for that supercell activity and possibly those big and damaging tornadoes tomorrow. So you guys, I'm going backwards and forwards here. So I'm up to between 8, 9. It's really 10 o'clock that we're going to start watching for those. So the bottom line for everybody, particularly out there in eastern Kansas, down here towards southeastern Kansas, we're up to 1 a.m. Before this particular parameter starts to drop off. Here's midnight right now, midnight 1 a.m. So what is important about this is when to have your severe weather alerts set to wake you up overnight. This is well past dark, and again, this is about midnight that I'm looking for possibly a supercell threat in front of that big line of storms. Matt, when is this? So I'm working on Monday night right now. I'm actually talking about Tuesday morning. So we're up to about 2 a.m. and I'm talking about supercells. So you guys can see that they do get lighter. And this corresponds really well to the severe weather outlook that I was showing you a few minutes ago. So again, looking for less discrete storms and less supercell activity as we move over here into west central Missouri. So I just wanted to go ahead and put that up. But look how much atmospheric energy is out there. I'm going to go ahead and put up another parameter here. We're talking about CAPE, and I talk about this one a lot during severe weather season. There's Rich Hill commenting. Thank you, Greg, for being a good, reliable source for weather in our area. Do my best and appreciate all the support. Rich Hill is great. Rich Hillfire always letting me know what happens when I'm on here covering severe weather for you guys. Appreciate them as well. So love getting those storm reports as things go on. So north of about 1,000 joules of CAPE, we talk about robust thunderstorms that could become severe. So at 10 o'clock tomorrow night, we are well over 2,000 joules of CAPE. So let's go ahead and kind of move this as the line of storms move in. See here again, as they work their way down here towards southeast Kansas, almost 3,000 joules of CAPE are available for these storms to work with. That is strong, strong atmospheric energy left over from the instability that has built during the day. So every reason is there, you guys. All the threats are in play. Tornadoes, which I have just showed you, hail up to 2 inches or greater. I think the greater than 2 inches stuff is going to be over here on the Kansas side, but I think everybody is going to see strong damaging winds and some hail as this moves through. But look how long that CAPE hangs out, you guys. That just kind of makes me nervous. Still over here into west central Missouri, as late as, I'm going to back this up to around the 3 a.m. hour as this moves through. Still over 2,000 joules of CAPE for these storms to work with. That's plenty, you guys, to get some strong and severe storms in the mix. So switch back over to reflectivity here. So again, this is about the 3 a.m. hour Tuesday morning, late Monday night, that I think this sweeps through the area. Once it's done, it's done. I expect some rain-cooled showers to build in back behind. So that is the schedule for things, you guys. How much rain are we going to get out of this? Man, that is a tough one. There's already some flood advisories out in a couple of places, but you guys can see that thunderstorms hang together the longest to Kansas City and points to the northwest. So Topeka area around 2.3, could be closer to 3 inches up around St. Joe. Kansas City is going to pick up almost 2 inches out of this. Eastern Kansas, almost 1 inch, just a little bit less than that over here in west central Missouri. But don't take that to the bank. You can take everything else I said to the bank. I'm confident. I will put my name on this forecast, or I would not be on here doing this if I was not sure. But precipitation amounts, do not take that to the bank because some of these thunderstorms are going to hang out. And I don't mean training specifically, like training over an area that gets one thunderstorm after another. But look how much we saw this a couple weeks ago. Let me go ahead and back this up to around 3, 4 a.m. Look how long this corridor here might receive rainfall Monday night over into Tuesday, right? So I would expect more than that. Honestly, I would not be surprised to see more than 2 inches in a lot of these places. It depends how quickly this front moves through. It's showing it moving through fairly quickly. So you have torrential downpours for something like an hour is what this is suggesting tonight. But again, it'll be a lot of rainfall for an hour. If it doesn't move through quite that quickly, we're just adding to those rainfall totals. So actually, I meant to show you. You guys couldn't see that. Sorry. Let me do that again. I'm looking at one screen. Here's what I was pointing out just a second ago. Sorry about that. Look how long this area here. Let me just do that again since I was talking to myself. So this area here, where am I talking about? Independence, Coffeyville, Oswego, up and down the 69 corridor. We saw this a couple of weeks ago, right, where it was frontal system like this, but it just kind of took its time getting through. So storms are moving through, as you guys can see on model data, where it would just be torrential downpours for something like an hour. But if it moves any slower than that, then yeah, I expect to see 2 inches or more in some of those areas. So there will be a corridor of significant rainfall that moves through with this as well. It's out of here by about 8 o'clock. Let me back up to about 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Even at 6 a.m. there, it's not too bad. So that is the schedule. That is what I know. So again, let's go ahead and take a look before I jump off of here. We'll go ahead and do radar in our area. It is 84 degrees, nothing concerning. We're just starting to pick up on the Kansas City radar. What is starting to build off to our northwest. I'll go ahead and look at composite radar for that. Look at that line already starting to come together as we work on about the 6:30 p.m. hour. So that is the schedule. That is everything I know, you guys. Again, I think the big takeaway is have ways to receive weather alerts overnight. Can't emphasize that stuff enough. This is after midnight stuff. Everybody's in nice deep sleep. So I hope you have something that can wake you up for those severe weather alerts. Do think we will all be dealing with severe thunderstorm warnings at least at some point in the next couple of days. I appreciate you joining me. That is the least that I can do for you. Hope it helps. Have a great night.